Yeah, it was a hard time during the lockdown. So I had these piles of wood, or what call it, poles, stacked in somewhere in storage. I always had an idea to make something out of it, and this group of wood, it was given by somebody from an architecture office where my son used to work there, and they were trying to get rid of them. So my son, asked them if I can hand it to my father. So we went by car and got them, and it was a part of two previous projects. One was for I think some presentation of some architecture things, and the other one, it was as well, again, was part of decoration or interior design, like a special presentation for a restaurant, newly open restaurant. So I call this work Third Life, according to this history, been through different projects and ideas. So I thought that would be, and I'm always interested in already found material to give them a new life. And I thought the Third Life will be just appropriate, especially with COVID-19 lockdown and things all morbid and depressing. So I thought it's good to give something a new life. So that's the idea come of the title, actually, and plus that I am, restricted by work, and I'm quite sort of always itchy, and I want to work, and you throw me anywhere, I will work. So garden was an amazing opportunity, a space that I can practice something which might not be a great thing, but as long as I'm using my mind and losing my hand, my body, to create something, and just to be continuously engaged in the process of creating objects. So Third Life idea come as well as a continuation of my I would say focus or engagement and preoccupation with the idea of towers, which have so much relation to the tower I have seen in my childhood or my youth, and later last year I had the opportunity to visit it after 40 years. It is the tower of minaret of Samarra, north of Baghdad, which was an amazing experience for me after so many years. So all my works, or not all, but most of my work somehow is driven or inspired by that tower, which have many, application as a form, as a content. So I use that repeatedly, come out in a different variety of work and different material and mediums. But it's been always somehow in my journey all these years. So, and for me, the tower itself, as it is a spiral, and it starts from a big base and slowly move forward upwards, and get narrower until to come to the peak, where many ideas come to mind to anybody that felt they're thriving towards a goal, or better social positioning, or to gain knowledge and enlightenment when you're on the top of this tower, or like similar to being at the top of a mountain where the landscape and the scenery is wide stretch or in front of you, where you can have a better view of everything and your relation to the world, to history, to where you come from, where you're going, and everything together. It becomes some complete picture of you with in the place you live and the environment you live and history you have been through. As I said, I was being fascinated by this form for 40 years or 40 in my career, but never had a real chance to climb it or to be near it. When I was young, a student in Baghdad in the 70s, I was in the bus crossing the river, the Tigris River. It always would be the image of that, or the scene of the tower, coming out of landscape slowly. When you get closer, it get bigger and bigger. But it is a bit out off the road, so I never had the chance to get off and go and see it, and to be nearby and or to climb it. So for me, after 40 years of this project coming up, when I visited Baghdad, so I stopped in the car, and I was lucky to know somebody from the city of Samarra, where the Malwiya is, or the mosque is. So it was an amazing opportunity. When I went there, and it was open to public actually, and there were not many people, and I was really, overwhelmed by the sheer, enormity of the form, and as well I was so pleasantly surprised that it was much even better than I envisaged all these years. So I was so moved by that scenery, absolutely. And so I did some video, a lot of shoot, photographs and some video shot when I climbed up. I photographed or videoed the whole step up, getting there, and again coming down. And that would be a project for another video, hopefully. Yeah, as I said before as well, that the tower. Then, of course, this tower will take you to other towers, because I think the tower of Malwiya Samarra, I believe it is the only, we call it, iconic building that resonated Tower of Babel. And I think maybe many people will, through only this form, will relate on, envisage, or imagine, and even artists will express it in their work through that form. So I think even the Tatlin Tower might partly be inspired by this, I would say, because there were many Orientalists and people from Russia passing by, and maybe some photograph or some drawing, and come back to Russia, and they've seen it in some magazine or some publication, and somehow it's been inspired by as well, the artists there. So I think for me as well, this Malwiya, the Tower Mosque of Malwiya, is a kind of international dimension to it, because you see so many buildings around the world which resonate that form, and so it really crosses border, crosses culture, and as well have an amazing taste of history, and to survive all these upheaval, wars, and of course, and the sun, the storm, and bombing, and as well somehow been victim of the recent conflict with the American intervention in Iraq. That I think some ISIS group have taken the top as a sniper position, and the American, I think, bombed the top, but it was not major damage, luckily. So it was meant that when I went to see it, it was not that noticeable, the damage done to the place. Yeah. The other thing is, which is very important to me, is mountain, of course. And mountain is very again important, iconic, architectural or sculptures form that appear in my work for many years. I come from a small city in north of Iraq, in Kurdistan of Iraq, which surrounded mountain, and my childhood all is these memories of the place which surrounded by mountain, and I loved as well climb mountain, and have the similar experience I went through when I climbed the minaret of Samarra. And the same, whenever I go to Kurdistan, I always try to go to the nearest mountain, climb, and to see the beautiful landscape and the city from that perspective of think everything in entirety, and it give you a different understanding and knowledge and perspective on the world, really. So, and mountain as well is very kind of important element in recent Kurdish history and politics, that the Kurds think, there's a saying that the Kurds have no friend but mountain. So mountain been always a place of refuge where they escape persecution or the government in Baghdad or in Turkey or in Syria, wherever. And so the mountain will be like a last refuge for them. And and as well, plus it's where the water come from. It's like a source for life, and as a refuge for safety and security, and as well for resistance as well. People, many. Until now as well, the Kurdish movement or liberation movement or national aspiration being fought with the help of Mount. Yeah. Yes, I mean my journey started gradually. That I finished my primary and intermediate school in my city where I'm born in Duhok, Kurdistan of Iraq. Then I was very young. I went to Baghdad in 1971 to do my art course for 5 years. It was very interesting, and it was first time I lived far from my family, and the study was 5 years. And it was a great time because at that time there was some, could call it a relative peace and stability in Iraq, relative compared to other times we've been through. And for art as well, it's been a great time. And it was our teacher, they're all graduates from school from London, Paris, or Rome. So they had so much to give to the student. And as well, they were very open-spirited, and there was a great competition between students to do work, not just in their school, but even outside. Whenever you went to a cafe or a street or to a market, you have your sketchbook with you, and you draw people on the street and the scenery where you are. So there was a great atmosphere, and really it helped me a lot to open my mind. And you meet people from the south of Iraq, from other Kurdish cities, from Baghdad, from all over. And plus it was a mixed school, of course, as well. The first time you are from a single agenda school to a mixed school. So that as well really was very enlightening and very kind of open, and introduce you to society in a different way, really. And after I finished my school, there was two options for me: or to go to military service, which is compulsory, or to continue my study. And there's only one academy. At that time, there's only one art school and one academy of fine art. And to be going to Academy of Fine Art, you have to be a member of the ruling party, the Ba'ath Party. And I wasn't, so there was no chance that I continue. The only chance left was that to get some help to go abroad. Of course, the government would not send me or give me a grant because I wasn't in their political party. The only solution was there that I get a paper from somewhere that I am a student of language or being accepted in some academy. And luckily, we had a friend in Belgrade in Yugoslavia who sent us a paper to say you are accepted in Serbo-Croatian language course. And with this paper alone, we were able to get a passport. Our military service was postponed, and we were able to travel. And then
from there,
yeah, there's another chapter in my life. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yes, yeah.
And then how many years now you're based in London?
Yeah, I mean, then when I came to Yugoslavia, I was difficult to stay in Belgrade, so we came to Ljubljana. And in Ljubljana, I did my, academic studies and postgraduate. I did that, but I couldn't continue there. That's another story. Then since '84, from Yugoslavia, I came and applied for a political asylum in 1984. So I've been here since 1984. It was really eye-opening for me, really, because when I was saying before, in Baghdad you have a good teacher and good atmosphere, but the country, as Iraq as a country, was really not very open to the outside world. So you have few shows in the Museum of Modern Art in Baghdad and some magazine, but not much really. So all you see, and plus we didn't speak English, so even if you given me some books, I wouldn't know what to say, what to read. It's all through word of mouth or from teacher or people who speak English to tell you what's going on the wall. But when I came to Slovenia, that was an opportunity to know more, because there were more exhibition, more exposure to art, world art, and magazine, and you're able to travel a bit. But from then again, when I came to London, there was some even more, another dimension to that new space and time that London, I think it was and is still one of the major center for art and culture. So whatever it happens in the world, somehow, if not immediately, very soon you would know what's going on, and you will be exposed and presented with, hundreds of opportunity of seeing art from whatever your taste or your philosophy or policy or style, whatever. There's everything available to be researched, studied, seen, and exposed to. So London for me was a really amazing opportunity. I never planned to be here. It's all happened coincidentally, absolutely, for me. But I'm so lucky to see that's the end of my journey somehow, to end up here in this place. Every year, and at least twice or three times, and I do and visit my family. Plus, I am very good touch with the artists there, and I'm as well engaged with some projects. I try to help them. We recently, last year actually October, we managed with much difficulties and against many odds to hold the first public art, where we did a group of 7 artists, and a bigger group, but in the end 7 survived together, that we managed to do this with some help from local people and some institutions, and we hoping to have the second edition this October, and I'm happy to say that we got as well living grant from a good institute to help us really to sponsor this project, and this time will be much more artists and from other cities as well. My main practice being, because I'm been in this world of art for a long time, and my academic study is all conventional. It's to do mainly with drawings and printmaking actually, and then I came to some time to a painting, then 3Ds, and now as well exploring idea of digital format, the videos. But again, I think all this, for me, I hope I'm right to say that all this happened organically. It's step by step, because I think to do with maybe my study, people I associated with, my teacher in Baghdad and maybe in Slovenia, and experience here, that to be open to ideas, to experimentation, to be open to use different material and mediums. And I think that's to do with the core of idea of art, that you always use different opportunity. Use new idea, new material, and explore new opportunities. And I think it come from that. So always I've been like that. And the film itself, it came about through my amazing experience when I visited this place in '92, actually, when Saddam lost power of the area, and I had taken some diapositive, slides, shot of that palace in the top of highest mountain in the area, which with a huge walls and many more smaller palaces surrounded in the vicinity. And this idea lived with me, because as you know from my practice, that the architecture and architecture form from my heritage and around the world, the symbol of power, symbol of authority, they always intrigued me, and these palaces always stayed in my mind. And so 2 years ago, when I revisited the palace, and I saw how damaged it is and how dilapidated due to the weather and maybe neglect as well. Many people during or after Saddam's demise, people come and use the material to recycle it. But somehow part of this palace survived due to being used as a tower for telecommunications. And interesting, though, when I visited, I unexpectedly some surprise happened that I saw a bear was in the palace, trapped there, but not trapped. Maybe it was kind of protected somehow because there are some people there, guard who look after the towers. And they were saying they were looking after the bear because this bear, then I searched the idea about the bear, how it came about. I found out in a few months earlier there were these two birds brought from a zoo, I think, or somebody have kept them somewhere, and they were disturbed and been in captivity for a long time. So the animal sympathizer have brought them ceremoniously with a woman in army fatigue. With journalists come and release them on, and this is supposed to be really a natural habitat for bear. But with Saddam's palaces and military activity for many years, wars, this place became uninhabitable for any type of creature. So there was a wrong idea, but it was a good intention, but the wrong idea. So one of the bear I heard it was disappeared, maybe shot or dead, whatever. But these bears were being very stressed, and it's at the mercy of this guard in the palace. So I thought that this bring about some ironic twist to the whole scene of drama and tragedy of Kurdish people and Iraqi people who have been through hell. So this bear is like kind of being powerless, being at the mercy of this tower, which belonged to some multinationals, and these guards who help them to feed them and protect them from people. And this palace as well is like a state of Iraq which is dilapidating. It's kind of in the state of collapsing, really. So for me that brought about an interesting equation to a whole idea how this building and the bear represent the time or encapsulate the time we live in, really, the continuous trauma and tragedy of these people and the land. So what I'm working now is a group of ideas of videos from archive because of the lockdown, as you know. So I have taken, due to my recent interest in video making, I've been taking a lot of footages from places in Kurdistan and Iraq and Baghdad and Samarra, which I mentioned before. I'm trying to make a video, and as well doing a group of a large drawing, and as well some sculptures in the garden. So working on many different, but I think they all somehow relate to each other and complement each other.